Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we have a pretty insane story to take a look at here. Really kind of reminds me of a few years ago I used to make a series of videos called It's Always the Video Game's Fault, basically just kind of chronicling different situations where parents or families or just people really in society would try to blame video games for the actions of horrible, mentally disturbed individuals. And well, today we have a pretty disturbing, unfortunate one that happened that I'm pretty sure most of you probably know about. It's a pretty big situation that happened here in the United States. The Uvalde school shooting in Texas. It happened, I think, a couple years ago at this point now, but it's been obviously one of the, I would say, more memorable of these kinds of situations, notably because the police pretty much did fuck all during the entire thing, while children were just getting, needlessly murdered. But the families of the victims of the Uvalde shooting have decided that, somebody's got to pay for this, right? And obviously, I think that's a message all of us can get behind, right? The people who are responsible for committing horrific tragedies like this deserve to be punished, right? That should really go without saying. However, this is just a bizarre one. I don't see the angle that they're really going from here, but apparently now we're blaming Call of Duty for these kinds of shootings, and in particular, we're blaming Call of Duty for the Uvalde mass shooting. So I know that sounds just fucking absurd to anybody who has a brain, but I mean, that's what's going on here. So the families have, I guess, filed 2 lawsuits actually, and only one of them has to do with Call of Duty, but let's go ahead and get into this. So the families of school children who were shot at Robb Elementary School in 2022 filed 2 lawsuits on Friday accusing Instagram, the publisher of the popular Call of Duty video game, that's definitely not right, and a manufacturer of semi-automatic rifles, of helping to train and equip the teenage gunmen who committed the massacre. The unusual lawsuits were filed on the 2nd anniversary of the elementary school shooting, in which 19 4th graders and 2 teachers were killed in their classrooms by an 18-year-old gunman who had purchased his weapon, an AR-15, a few days before as soon as he was legally able. While much of the attention in the aftermath of the shooting has been on the flawed police response, the 2 suits, one filed in California, the other in Texas, focus on the gunman and the companies that he regularly interacted with leading up to the shooting. Each company the lawsuits claim took part in, quote, grooming the teenager to become a mass shooter. So, by the way, in the beginning article of the article, it says, Instagram is the publisher of Call of Duty. Obviously, that's not true. The lawsuit would be targeting Activision Blizzard if that's the case. I don't know if there was also some mix-up because maybe there was a similar lawsuit filed against Instagram. I don't know. But in particular, these 2 lawsuits are basically towards Call of Duty and the manufacturer of the rifle. Together, the suits are among the most far-reaching actions to be filed in response to the escalating number of mass shootings in the United States. The California suit, which names the publisher Activision, appeared to be one of the first to go after a video game maker for helping to promote weapons used in mass shootings. The lawsuits argue that the gun maker, Daniel Defense, would not have been able to connect with the gunman, a socially isolated teenager living in rural Texas, without the help of technology and video game companies. A spokeswoman for Activision said in a statement on Friday that, quote, "We express our deepest sympathies to the families in Uvalde, but added that millions of people around the world enjoy video games without turning to horrific acts." The other companies did not immediately comment. Alright, so essentially the argument that's being made here, if you're not really piecing this together, is that I guess the person who committed the shooting in Uvalde, right? He was somehow brainwashed, manipulated, if you will, over time, groomed, if you will, according to this, by playing Call of Duty. So I guess you know how you play Call of Duty. I used to play Call of Duty. You play any video game, right? It doesn't matter. It's all the same shit, right? You play a violent video game. Apparently, according to these people, what's happening in your brain is the manufacturers of weapons and whatnot are subconsciously and subliminally sending you messages to your brain, right? That make you decide, fuck it, I've been living my life this whole time. I'm on a 10 kill streak in COD right now. Fuck it. Let me hit the local elementary with that too. Apparently that's what happens. I didn't know that. You probably didn't know that, but apparently that's what's going on. So I feel like I shouldn't have to explain why that is is just completely fucking idiotic. But I mean, unfortunately, there is a noticeable portion of people in society who constantly reiterate these ideas that video games are causing this. So the shooting was committed with an AR-15 style rifle, which is interesting that they're claiming that this was somehow a brainwash or whatever, or like he got groomed, because if you've ever played a Call of Duty game before, you would know that there is no AR-15 in Call of Duty. Now, it is true that the AR-15 is essentially like a civilian version of the M16, but semi-automatic, and, you know, it's not a fucking actual military weapon. If you actually know anything about guns, an AR-15 is not a fucking military weapon. But, so the AR-15 is not even in Call of Duty, so I'm confused as to what's going on. Also, I just want to point out, it names Daniel Defense, which is apparently the manufacturer of this gun, and I don't think Call of Duty even uses, like, actual gun trademarked names anymore, right? They used to have, like, Remingtons and stuff like that. I don't think they even use shit like that anymore. And they haven't used it for probably at least, I want to say, a decade damn near now. So I'm really confused on where they're getting this idea that like gun manufacturers are fucking like somehow getting exposure through Call of Duty, because I mean, like, if you play the game, it's like generic fucking names like the M1911 or the Desert Eagle or the AN94 or the M16, you know, it's not a fucking, you know, it's not the Beretta M9 or the Heckler and Koch G36, you know, they don't do shit like that in Call of Duty. So nobody playing a video game like that is learning of gun named trademark names or anything like that through video games. So, I mean, even in like Grand Theft Auto, they don't use actual car names. It's not like you get in like a fucking a Miata or something, you know, or a Ford Focus. You're getting in like a Pegassi Vaca or something like that, you know? So I'm just confused as to where they're even getting that from. So if you haven't noticed by now, basically what's happening here is they're kind of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what'll stick. And I hate to say this because like these people really did obviously go through a serious tragedy, and like, you know, the whole Uvalde thing, it really could have been minimized and it could have been avoided in a lot of ways, I feel like, but I don't think that that gives you free reign to go around just like wildly filing lawsuits that are just completely logically baseless. Or I should say baseless. You know, you shouldn't be doing things like that. It doesn't really give you the right to just go around and, you know, try to blame video games for doing shit like this. And to go as far as to say that an inanimate object, a fucking video game like Call of Duty, somehow groomed this guy into apparently being capable of murdering dozens of school children, I don't see that. I don't see that being the case. Not only do I not see that being the case, but basic science that's been done for the last 25 plus years in many studies that have costed millions upon millions of dollars all across the world. They've already done all the research. We've already found this out. You know, violent video games do not directly correlate to in real life violence. They don't increase people's odds to go fucking commit mass shootings and shit like that. Now, there's a lot of things I feel like we could talk about in this country that contribute to this problem, but I don't think that video games is one of those things that we should be talking about. And in reality, like, from an outsider perspective, this is what really it looks like is happening, right? You got this family of people who, in a lot of ways, they are the faces of a very unfortunate phenomenon in society, right? And it's something that I feel like as Americans, we're struggling to take as seriously as we should to begin with. There's just far too many of these kinds of events going down. I think we can all agree on that. But in a time where we need to be unifying people and getting people together and getting everyone to see the problem and, you know, talk in productive ways about how to fix this, instead of doing that, instead of having productive conversations, you now have the face of this problem going around mindlessly suing video game companies and shit like that, and trying to pin the blame on stuff like this on Call of Duty. Which, I mean, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure out that that's stupid. And so, in that time, when we could be figuring this out and we could be working together, and these people who are, once again, the face of an unfortunate thing, they could be using that platform to actually help try and drive change. Instead, we're fucking arguing about whether or not a match of domination is gonna make me want to go into Walmart with a rifle and hit everybody, right? Like, it's just fucking stupid. It's dumb. And we've had this conversation, like, how many times in reality? Fucking probably hundreds of times over history, right? When I was a child, the same conversation was going on. You had people like Hillary Clinton, right, trying to get fucking Grand Theft Auto and other video games banned and shit. Because, oh my god, imagine what it's gonna do to the kids. Imagine what this is doing to people mentally. How come none of these people ever sue any, like, movie producers who make movies about fucking violent, you know, killings and slayings? Why are we not suing people who make music about violent shit? Why are we not suing authors who publish books about violent, horrific tragedies? And the answer always comes down to the same thing. You know, all these old people, they view books and shit like that as a respectable art form and a medium that they respect. You know, when country artists back in the day were singing about fucking killing the lawman and shit like that and escaping town and smoking pot, that was fire. You know, that shit was, turn that Johnny Cash up, turn that shit on, bro. Turn on the scary movies, turn on the violent movies and television, turn on the fucking Sopranos and all that, right? But hey, when it comes to a video game or some rap music, hey, that's where we draw the fucking line, bro. That we can't have any of that. Now we're grooming people to be violent, you know? What are children gonna do if they see this kind of shit in video games? I mean, I don't know. We don't hold anything to the same fucking standards at all when it comes down to it. And don't get me wrong, like I love The Sopranos and I love Johnny Cash and violent shit on TV. It's fire, I get it. But I'm just saying that for the sake of argument. If we're gonna say that, oh, if I play Call of Duty, that, you know, the gun manufacturers and Call of Duty are responsible for me doing whatever bad things I'm doing, why not stop there, you know? What if somebody goes to the library, right, and they pick up a book that maybe they shouldn't have picked up, and they read about people getting killed, or they read about people committing crimes, and then, by golly, oh my goodness, they walk out of the library and do the same fucking thing. Should we then go to the library and the book manufacturers and be like, hey, you guys are causing these problems. You guys are fucking grooming people into being issues. We should do something about that. No, we shouldn't, because that would be fucking moronic. Like, when did we in this country decide that personal responsibility was no longer a thing? And I'm not saying that to blame the victims of this, because realistically, it's not their fault that the tragedy happened, but the blame should not be put on a fucking video game console. It should be put on the lunatics in society who are not getting adequate mental health treatment, who are not, you know, fucking living quality lives and benefiting people around them, that go and get a gun and fucking kill 30 people. Those are the people who should be held responsible. The person who commits the crime is the one you hold responsible, not the fucking video game company that he just so happened to enjoy. It's such a ridiculous way of thinking, and I don't even understand how people view it productively. Like, how do you actually, in your head, of all things, believe that that's the way things are? I don't know, but you see shit like this, and it's sad, because like I said, these people, they are in an unfortunate position that I feel like that since they're in, they could be using that position to make sure other families don't have to go through that again. And instead of doing that in the right way, they're blaming the wrong shit. And in the manner of blaming wrong shit, they're essentially, with their lawyers, trying to extort money out of people, you know, and out of companies because of this shit. And I don't know, I just don't see that as right. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about this pretty unfortunate lawsuit and signing out. And that's a wrap on this video, but big shout out to my Optimus Nation supporters. You guys are the real MVPs. For $10 a month, you get access to loads of exclusive videos and archived live streams, my members only Minecraft server where you can possibly appear in gameplay, early access to all new uploads, an invitation to the private Discord, and much more.